Welcome to the Sensitive Biker podcast, and this will be a close up and personal episode about schizophrenic, paranoid schizophrenic, and today I have with me Kim, which I have PTSD, but you have some other diagnoses as well.
Yeah, I got OCD, ADHD, paranoid, schizophrenic, yeah, and PTSD.
Yeah.
And then I have, I don't know about it's actually a diagnosis, but
yeah, we've written down some things here because we both have PTSD. We kind of forget a lot of shit, so we had to write it down.
Yeah.
But you were thinking about also anxiety.
Yeah. So I don't know about it's actually a diagnosis, but
you have it.
I have it also.
Yeah. Okay.
It's hard to go out and just buy some stuff sometimes because I'm afraid of the whole thing will burn down or something. So it's pretty tough, and when you get this seizure, you get totally wasted after.
Yeah.
Because it
takes all your energy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But how when is like you're panicking or?
I can get panic attack, but I can also just get those other seizures where I'm shaking and feel uncomfortable and stuff like that.
Just because of the anxiety? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can also get this panic attack where I'm totally shaking and sweat is running down and look around. Is there anybody here to do something with me or what it can be?
Okay. Yeah.
So, but I have learned to live with my diagnosis. It's fucking hard, and there's many days that it's not funny.
Sometimes you just have to pull the plug and say, I'm done.
Yeah, sometimes I was take a whole weekend with Harry Potter. I put in my living room, I put the bed on the floor, move it from sleeping room to living room, and put down gardiner.
Curtains?
Yeah. Put them down so nobody could watch me and all this, so that was dark, and I just watched Harry Potter a whole weekend.
Okay. Well, that sounds nice, actually.
Yeah, but when you don't feel so good, it's not so funny. But it's better than do some stupid things. The most bad that happened was I don't wash my teeth and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
you isolate so you don't hurt anyone or don't do anything bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you? When did you start? When did you start noticing that was something wrong with you, that you weren't like anybody else?
I actually know since I was around 5.
5 years old.
Yeah. When I was going kindergarten. The people that was work there was tell my parents they have a strange child.
Okay.
And that was me, and that was what they get of help.
Okay. That wasn't a lot of help.
No, actually nothing.
But how did that make you feel, actually knowing that people look at you different and that's a problem?
But I think in this about be with other people, I was so good, so the other kids don't feel I was strange, but the parents or the people that was working there could see there was something wrong. Maybe I was, I don't know, moving a lot too much or could not sit down on a chair and stuff like that.
Saying funny stuff.
Yeah. But when I get young teenager around, I think 12 years old, I was thinking 2 things about myself. I could be a psychopath, or I could be a personality delusional.
Disorder.
Yeah, disorder, sorry.
That's okay.
Because I was actually a nice guy, I hope. I think so.
Yeah.
But I have some really strange twist in my mind. So I could sit and talk like we are doing now, and then I could think, fuck, I kill you.
But that was something you felt, or you felt that was somebody telling you to do it?
In that time, it was, I think it was myself, because there was something wrong.
Okay.
And that's why I was have those two things, because I didn't know exactly what it was, but I think I was a psychopath or something, because I could be a nice guy and then have some twisted mind thoughts.
Yeah. But you had that all the time, or did it switch back and forth, or how did it work?
Yeah, near all the time.
Okay,
just it come.
Okay.
So it was hard, and
so you hear voices, or
not in that period.
Okay.
I was actually around 17
before you start hearing voices.
Yeah, but I have I can remember things from child where I was hear stuff and see stuff, but it was actually around 17 it was getting totally crazy.
Okay.
When I was child it was, but it's hard about say it's fantasy or it's schizophrenic that was doing it. But I was totally sure about when it was start totally.
Yeah.
Because I could hear, even if there was a big wall behind me, I could hear trucks that was near driving me down so I will die. I could feel spiders running on my legs and up, not from here and up, but from the feet, and then up to here, and I could feel there was
like on your skin or under your skin? Or?
This was on my skin.
Okay.
In my mouth I can feel like worms. They are moving around inside my teeth.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I was actually called this where you can, if you don't feel good in your mind, you can come to a hospital.
Yeah.
And I was called them and said I have worms in my mouth and stuff like that.
The psychiatric ward.
What?
The psychiatric ward, when you have problems with your psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she told me that try with the ice cube, and I was like, what the fuck? That's really strange. But then I was try, but it was actually really good because it's so cold that your mouth is feeling like
it gets numb.
Yeah,
so you can't feel anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is one of the best trick I ever get for feel better when I have these worms in my mouth. Yeah,
but you also said you were thinking about being a psychopath when you were about 12 years old. But when was you diagnosed with schizophrenia or paranoid schizophrenia?
Yeah, I think it's around 25, because I was actually start with OCD and ADHD first.
Okay, that was earlier.
Yeah. But it's just like 2 years before or something. So I have been like 23, 24, 25, something.
So all those years, you're actually going around thinking that there's something really wrong with you and you're a psychopath?
I was not thinking, I was no. Yeah. But yes.
You thought you were a psychopath?
Yeah. Because I have this strange mind. I could be nice, and then I could have some really strange thoughts about killing people and stuff like that. Okay.
But those thoughts, did you feel they came from inside you, or some other party outside telling you to do these things?
In the young age, I feel it was my own voice. My own mind that was telling it. When I get older, it can be both
yourself and someone outside.
And someone, exactly. Okay. So it can be somebody I don't know that say kill that guy, or it can be my parents that say kill that guy, and I'm very loyal to my parents, so it can be a little bit hard to control everything about it. I will not go and kill anybody. It doesn't matter who they tell me, but it's just hard when you have a lot of respect for somebody and then they say in your mind kill somebody. But I know my parents are not staying here around, so if I hear it, I know they are not them.
Okay, but it sounds like it's your parents telling you to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it can be like every voices. Also people I don't know. It can be a guy. It can be a woman.
Okay.
So
there's no kind of system in it. It's just random.
It's just random.
Yeah.
And that's make it for me. It's make it more hard because if you know there is a sweet voice and a dark voice, or what you can call it.
Yeah.
Then I think it's more controlled, because if you have like a demon and an angel, then you can hear the both say, there's a good way, and you can hear there's a bad way.
Yeah, and you can choose.
Yeah, and you can choose. Yeah. But for me, I don't know who it is and why.
So the way they are saying it, it could be either way. And do you feel that? Do you have a hard time feeling that this is the good side or the bad side telling you what to do?
No. It's just coming. So it's I have to think about what they are said.
Yeah.
I have a lot. I have to take to Germany and make an overdose, so I will die.
So the voices are telling you to go to Germany and take an overdose.
Yeah. So I will die.
Okay.
And then I start thinking, because I try to make fun about it, because if I just said I will not do it, and then I'm getting crazy and I will make a suicide anyway or something. Yeah. But I said to myself, why the hell should I go to Germany? There's a bridge. It's expensive. There is fuel that's expensive. And even, how shall I find drugs in Germany? I don't know who to ask about it.
So it's much easier to overdose in Denmark.
Yeah, exactly. But I will not do it, but it's more easier.
Yeah. But it's so how do you feel when these voices are telling you to do these things?
It's depend how much energy I have.
Yeah. So the less energy you have, the more power they have over you.
Like, yeah, exactly. Because if I don't have energy to say go away or you are stupid or something to the voice, then it's getting. I have more. I'm more. How to say? It's more easy when you have energy, because you can set some funny stuff about it instead of you're just tired and the come voices and it's like, oh shit, stay away, and so when you can handle it with more energy, it's more easy.
Yeah.
But it's fucking hard to have energy enough.
Yeah, you can't be full of energy all the time.
No.
Impossible.
And especially with some of those diagnoses, you are sleeping sometimes after 48 hours or stuff like that. So you get totally drained. You get so sad when you don't have energy. It's getting so hard to walk around. It's getting so hard to go out and just buy milk or a cup of coffee or something like that.
Yeah. But to get back to your childhood, how did your parents, how did they take all of these things, and knowing that you got these diagnoses?
Yeah. My parents was really good to handle it, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It can be different from other people, of course.
Yeah, but it felt good the way they did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For me, it was really nice because it's like, there's something wrong. Okay, shit. But you can just tell if you want, and if you don't want, don't say anything.
Okay.
So for me, it was not like, you are sick, go get some plaster, go get some jacket so you don't freeze and stuff like that. Yeah. It was not like I was packed in and just stay in the corner so nobody see you.
Yeah.
I was out, I was make the same things that my parents, maybe a strange way sometimes when we was working.
They tried to give you a normal life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have never been packed inside.
No.
So everything I have done because I want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to be so normally as other people.
As possible, yeah.
Yeah. But it was just nice because there was nothing to scare about.
No.
To be scared about.
Yeah.
Because my parents was just like, come to us if there's something.
They made it normal in a way.
They make it normally.
Yeah.
Of course they tell it's not totally normally, but they make it normally.
Yeah, so it's normal for you.
Yeah, so it's normally for me. And just
this is your life and this is what we have to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for that, it was really comfortable to live with, and I'm happy about it's not me. It's not my parents that get it, but it's me that get it because it's fucking hard to hear voices and see things and feel spiders go on your body. But my parents have made me so normally, so many people cannot see at me I'm sick in the mind.
No, of course, you don't have a broken leg.
No, it's not.
Or an arm missing. So how did you deal with that when other people couldn't see? And was it easy trying to live a normal life, or do you had some issues that were harder than it normally would have been?
Yeah. First of all, the school was pretty hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So it was. I could not sit down so long time. I could not think about what they do on the towel.
The board.
The board, I could not control what's happening. If we said like 20 people in the classroom, somebody sit with a pen and do something, somebody move the legs, and I could hear everything.
All those small noises, they become big.
Yeah. Exactly, and they are the same decibel, everything.
Okay.
So everything that's happening inside a classroom is really hard for me to control, and also not only just the sound, but also the moving. If people are moving, I see it.
Yeah.
And even if I look that way, I can see somebody is moving over here.
Yeah.
And that's totally stressed.
But that's also the same thing with PTSD. You looking for everything, moving, all noises, people's behavior and body language, and so you are aware of everything, and you use all your energy when you have to be like that 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So do you ever, because of that, do you ever isolate yourself for periods of time to get away from it? I did when I had my PTSD, but I guess that it's worse for you with all these diagnoses that you have as well.
Yeah, but I have isolated myself, but not too long time, because I know isolation is not so good. I have tried to do it, and it's getting more and more crazy because
so it's getting worse when you isolate you in long periods of time.
Yeah. I have to come out to other people. I have to stay in the garden, see some animals.
But does animals give you peace of mind, or?
Not all the time.
Depends on the animals.
Yeah, birds, they are... and I get totally crazy.
It's because it's high frequency? Or,
yeah. So it's like taking a knife and do it like that in the head, because it's... I have no filter inside.
No. So everything you hear, even if it's long distance or people close to you, it feels like it's right next to you.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and it's a lot of stress, because you have to, if they sit like 4 people,
yeah,
and I talk with you, and they sit 2 over here that talk with each other.
Yeah.
I have to think about what you are telling me, like everybody do.
Yeah, but you're listening to them as well.
Yeah, listening to them as well, and if it's a little bit boring, then I can listen to what they are talking about. Yeah. I listen to what you're talking about, and I can think about what I have to do at home.
Mm.
And then it's more stressed. Yeah. So, and then when you have many disorders, one of them start with some stressful situation.
Yeah.
They come more stressed, and the next dino start.
Okay, so it's kind of layers that just fall upon each other.
Yeah. And that is, I have used my whole life, and I'm not perfect. I'm not even good enough to work. I'm good enough to work, but I am so stressed, so I cannot work.
So you can't have a full-time job?
No. I even don't work. But because of all this stress, then especially my schizophrenic, it's the last part that will start. So it can start with OCD, and then ADHD, and then the schizophrenic part.
But is this usually ADHD or what did you say just now?
OCD?
OCD is that usually what it starts with, or can it be different?
It can be different. It can also just start with voices, and then I'm getting crazy about that.
Okay.
But it's normally it starts with too much stress about I see many things, and then if I stay in a room and there's not clean and there's too many stuff everywhere,
then your OCD
then my OCD gets stressed too, and then I start to see stuff and hear stuff, and then everything is then I'm done.
Then it's just like a train that starts running and you can't stop it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to find out what to do to not get there. It's hard to find out to stress down after. Of course, I have something I will do if it's coming. I can call a friend and say I feel like shit, and then he can ask about what's happening.
And what do you do if you're all the way up there with paranoid schizophrenia, voices, you see things that's not there, and what do you do to get down from that? Can you do anything, or does it just have to, you just have to let it pass? Or
yeah, if I'm at home, I take sleeping medicine.
Okay.
Because it's so rough, so it's like a big gangster can start crying if it's like totally stressed with the schizophrenic.
Yeah.
I can also cry if it's something that make it too hard.
Okay.
But then I take some sleeping medicine.
Yeah.
But else, if I cannot do that, and sometimes I cannot fall in sleep with the medicine.
Okay.
Then it's just wait, play some computer.
Trying to get your mind on other things.
Yeah, I mostly hear music, and then I play computer or stuff like that.
Yeah. Does music kind of fill your head enough to drown the voices, or?
Yeah, Mostly of the time.
Okay. Is it a specific type of music you listen to, or could it be anything?
It can be anything, but if I feel like if I hear voices about I have to kill somebody and I'm angry and everything is like shit, then I hear some. It can be like Slipknot. It can be some heavy metal or what you can call it, and then some rap. Because if you hear the rap,
sorry, just continue.
Okay.
If you hear the rap.
If you hear rap or where they're just screaming in the microphone, then you feel like you are not alone.
Okay, so it can, if you're listening to heavy metal or death metal or something, it can enhance the voices, or does it drown them out?
If I hear loud music, it's holding it. Sorry.
That's okay.
If I hear loud music, normally the voices is in this, if we say like decibel, is 50 decibel.
Yeah.
Then I can listen music in maybe 10 decibel more.
Okay.
So I can still hear the voices, but the music can hold them down.
Oh, okay.
But if I'm totally stressed and it's fucked up everything,
then it doesn't matter.
Then it doesn't matter, because then the voice is just screaming more than the music is doing.
Okay. So it's always a matter of you having as much energy as possible.
Yeah.
And is it like my PTSD, when you talk about energy, you have to get rest, good sleep, food, remember to drink water, stuff like that?
Yeah. If I drink too much and eat too bad,
kind of like fast food and
exactly.
Sugary drinks and stuff like that. Yeah. We were talking about Red Bull earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some shit.
Yeah, you had some problems with telling you to drink Red Bull, or
the voice and some or what do you call it? Thoughts I cannot control, where the thoughts telling me to do something.
Yeah, and you can't control it.
And I can't control it. Then I start with drink Red Bull, because the voices and my mind said it will be better.
Okay.
I don't know what there will be better, but something
something will be better.
Yeah, exactly. So I have drink a lot of them, and I could feel I just get more and more bad.
Okay. And when you drink more Red Bull, then it becomes a habit, and then it becomes an addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is some shit.
Yeah.
Sugar and caffeine.
Yeah.
It's not a
good cocktail.
No. But when I drink and eat bad, my mind can be more bad.
Okay.
But if I drink enough water and some juice and eat well, I feel
cooked meal, meat, vegetables, stuff like that.
Yeah, then I can feel better.
Okay.
Better, but not good.
No, it never goes totally away.
Probably not.
No, but you don't have days when do you have days when they're totally quiet and you feel more normal than other days, or?
I hear stuff and feel stuff every day.
Okay, so there's never quiet. There's always something. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But some days it's more easy to handle, and some days it's not just because I'm stressed. It's not every time I have stress or something.
No.
Then it's not only when I'm stressed. It's getting worse But it can be the both sides. So if I'm not stressed, it can be crazy in my mind.
Yeah.
And if I'm too stressed, it can also sometimes only be thoughts about shit. I have to cut the grass and clean the kitchen and stuff like that. So it's hard to say when it's and what make it strange in my mind.
Yeah. So it could be anything from you have to cut the grass to you have to kill the neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. It can be anything.
Yeah.
But then when you get when I get it, I don't know about other, of course, but when I get thoughts like killing somebody, or cut the legs off or something, then I can get like, oh fuck, I'm so bad person.
Because you feel guilt because you have those thoughts.
Yeah, I don't do it, but I have it.
Yeah.
And that can be hard then. One day I was staying in a shop, and there was a woman that was yelling about ice cream. And the price was too much, and then they find out after a long time, and she has just blah 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 about the price. I have paid too much.
Yeah.
And then they find out she have not paid too much.
Okay, it was another item on sale.
Yeah.
And not the one she bought.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I think about, it was my own mind, not voices, but then I think about, she shall die. She screaming, everybody could hear it in the shop.
Yeah.
And then after that, when I was calmed down, I was not so stressed and not so angry.
Yeah. The guilt comes.
Yeah, then the guilt comes. And then I want to help. So I go to a place where you can put garbage.
Garbage?
Yeah, garbage.
Yeah.
Then I start to clean the floor.
Okay.
Because I was a bad person, but if I do something good, it could be better.
Okay.
But
did it help? Did you feel better after you cleaned, or not really?
Not really. So I will not do that next time.
Okay.
But anyway, I was make something good after, and that's a nice thing.
But we also hear a lot about, and you also said it earlier, about the voices telling you to commit suicide. And did you ever feel like you wanted to die? Did you ever have thoughts about unliving yourself? We're not supposed to say it otherwise on YouTube. So unliving yourself.
Okay. I think I have too much good things in my life.
Yeah.
So I don't want to.
But you had earlier thoughts about unliving yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you
and I can still get it.
Yeah.
But not so often as what I hear, I don't know, but many other with schizophrenic, it's like in Denmark, I think it's like from 20 to 30% they are on life.
They unlive themselves.
Yeah. Something like that. And
of the old people with schizophrenic or paranoid schizophrenic.
Yeah.
That's almost a third. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's many.
Yeah.
But I will never do it, and I have never think so much about doing it.
So you never tried doing it? No.
I have sit with a knife, but I don't do it.
No.
Again, because I have some good friends, a nice family. Today I got a son too, and so I have a lot of good things. So I don't think about I have to unlife myself.
Okay, unalive, yeah.
Unalive.
Well, I tried it twice when I was drinking a lot, but and I only have PTSD. I don't have all the things you have. So yeah, I think it makes sense that a lot of people with those diagnoses, they think it's too hard to handle. But I think also maybe that it's easier for you because you talk about it It's not a secret. You think that makes it easier to live with?
Yeah, because of many things. If the parents tell you, don't tell it to anybody, then you can start
then you feel that you're wrong also.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something wrong with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But because...
Well, there are something wrong, but...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I never get normal. But
I have papers that says that I'm not normal. So,
yeah, exactly. So, but you have a life and you need to live as good as possible.
Yeah, of course.
So I have think a lot about many things, of course, but about the mindset. If you tell yourself, for me, if I tell myself when the voices are coming and say, go take an overdose or something, then I can say to myself, some good things. I want to live. I have a son. I have it's summer or the sun is here or something. Then it take many years to change your mind.
Yeah.
But when you have do it in long time, so every time something bad happening, you said it could be more bad, or it's okay. If somebody is going from
could be worse, always.
Yeah. Exactly. And the same, I was a lot angry when I was younger. And if there was a car that was coming and there was red light and he was going, then I was get totally angry, screaming and maybe hit something. But after many years, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, when I said to myself, instead of thinking negative, you can think positive. Yeah. Maybe he'd go from red light because his wife is near born a child, or maybe there's coffee at home or cake or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But instead of just think bad and bad and bad, it's end up bad all the time.
So instead of getting angry, just I hope he gets where he's going in time, or
it can be really hard to think like that.
Oh yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
But it can end up, for me, it ends up really good.
Yeah.
But I have a good family that have helped me a lot, and I have some good friends that have helped me a lot. And many people don't have the same as I have.
No.
And then it can be really hard to start thinking positive about something.
But have people ever cut you off because of your issues? Have you lost friends or family?
I have lost friends because I don't come there, because I don't have energy enough.
Okay.
Then I have stay away for a long time, and then it's hard to come back sometimes.
Yeah.
And get a relationship again and stuff. I have never tried that somebody just go if I said I have schizophrenic or something. Okay. Many people think, you are killing me, and then they go.
Then they run.
Yeah, run. I have never tried like that.
Okay.
But many people have tried like that because they think it's really bad.
Yeah.
But I have a bad head or mind, or what you can call it. But I'm not a bad person.
No.
I just see stuff, I hear stuff, and it's make it really hard to be like with other people, and also alone, and nothing is.
And it's not personal. It's just you don't have the energy to be around other people. And also the thing you said before resonated with me about the thoughts that you thought you were a bad person. For me personally, it's like it took me a lot of years actually to realize that I am not my thoughts. I think, as many other people, we think about 60,000 things a day.
Yeah.
and we can decide which thoughts we give energy to and which thoughts we don't. So we can decide to be negative or positive, but also most of those thoughts, they just disappear, but we don't disappear. So for me, that was kind of I saw this as, okay, my thoughts disappear, so I'm not my thoughts.
No.
My thoughts come from inside my head, but they're not a part of my personality.
Yeah.
And just because I have some bad thoughts, it doesn't make me a bad person if I don't react on them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's normally for every people, nearly every people, it's normally to think about something bad.
Yeah.
It can be kill somebody. Everybody can think that.
Yeah, or most of people is like, oh, I hate this guy and I wish he would die or something like that. Yeah. It doesn't. We don't do it, and it's like, oh, when you're sitting here talking about you have paranoid schizophrenia, and you said, yeah, the voices are telling me to do this, and it's kind of like, okay, then you're dangerous. But it's not different than me wanting to strangle some kid that's a nuisance in the shop when I'm buying groceries or something. I'm not doing it. I'm just feeling very annoyed that this kid is acting out.
Yeah. The problem is if you see something is not there. It can be everything. It can be a shadow. It can be you see maybe there's one guy here and another guy here. They may be just talking and drink some water or something. But when you have schizophrenic, you can maybe see they are start fight with each other, even if they're not doing it.
Okay.
So if you are not scared about it, maybe you go try to get them away from each other.
And they get confused because they're not fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So there can happen some bad stuff, and that's why
misunderstandings.
Yeah, exactly. You hear a lot about some with schizophrenic have killed somebody, but it's maybe because they see something that's not the right thing. So
something that don't exist but only exist
in the head. Yeah. So it can be bad, but mostly you will never react.
Yeah. But how do you know if it's real or if it's just something you see? Do you know?
No.
Or do you just have to?
I just have to think about, now we sit here. If there come a guy from over there, I know there's no door, so there cannot come anybody inside.
No.
So all the time, I never know.
So you have to guess.
I have to guess.
So unless it's a horse with a human head, you have to guess if this is really happening or what.
Yeah. And that's a lot more stress.
Yeah. But when you see these things, what's more common than it's natural things, or do you see monsters or people killing each other, or what do you see? Unicorns or whatever.
I have seen, but sometimes I call especially my father, and said, today I have seen a T-Rex in a small form. It was there on the table.
Yeah.
I have called him and said, oh, I have seen a horse with two head.
Okay.
And then it's funny.
Yeah.
You can make fun of it.
Yeah.
When you see, I have tried to like walk around in the devil's place, if you can say it like that.
In hell.
In hell, yeah.
And you felt you were physically there.
Yeah. Yeah. There was come smoke up from the ground. All the light was. There was still light, but it was
kind of dim.
damp down, yeah. So there was not so much light. I see dead people everywhere. I see insects, yeah. That was eating the bodies, and some bodies was like a skeleton, so it was a really old one.
Yeah.
And it's give a lot of panic, and it's not funny.
No.
But you know it's not the right thing.
But it feels real.
It feels totally real.
Yeah.
As real as we are sit here and talk.
Yeah.
I cannot say I was not there. I could really feel it was there.
Yeah.
But this about what is, if you say like, what is more easy? Is it easy to see like a shadow? Every time I see maybe a shadow moving, I have to look and say, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And that can be really hard, because you all the time see it, and then you move your head, and you shall not. I don't want to be like a strange guy, so I will not look over there all the time. Then you are thinking, okay, is there something? But that can be more hard to handle. Also, if you see a guy that's just walking, maybe he is not there anyway. Maybe he is. And that's hard because you never know really what's right or what's wrong. But if it's totally wrong, like
then you know.
Then you know it's.
But it still feels real.
Yeah, it still feels real. But so it's hard to say what is the best. Is it best to see some funny things? Of course, that's more funny.
Yeah.
To see a horse with two heads. But
mini T-Rex.
Yeah, that was really nice. That was really funny. It was day outside my parents' kitchen, and it was with small arms, you know. So it's just funny. You know? But there's so many bad things. Also, when you hear something that is not there and see something that is not there. Okay. I can sometimes see something, but there's no sound on.
Okay.
Then I know, okay, if there's a guy there walking, you can hear like this. But if there's no sound, then I know. Then it's something wrong.
Yeah. Not necessarily true.
No.
But
of course, I make some small. I have learned some small things I can do for check is it real or not. But the problem is if you react too much, then you start get stressed. You start feel bad, and
then it gets more real.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can just, for me, the best thing in every situation is relax.
Yeah.
Because if I see a guy behind you and he do something like grabbing on your neck or something, if I start to do something, then you are getting crazy.
Yeah.
But if you just think, he's not there.
Yeah.
He's there.
A fly.
A fly, yeah. So it's really hard because you all the time have to think, and sometimes if I just blink with my eyes, like close and open again, then it can be gone.
Okay.
So for me, that's a good trick to. It's not every time it's gone.
No, but sometimes
it's gone.
Yeah.
And then I know it was not a real thing. So for me, if I can just make like that.
But we were also talking earlier about nightmares, and how does that affect you? Because a lot of people, or all people that I know that have nightmares, it feels real, especially when you wake up. And with me having PTSD, I almost what's it called? I lost it for a minute. Sometimes I lose words. Sometimes I even forget what my children's name are, because there's so many things going around in my head. But somewhere somebody was trying to kill me, and I almost strangled my girlfriend because I thought she was someone else. I had a nightmare, and she was trying to wake me up, and I thought she was someone that was trying to kill me, so I nearly strangled her because before I found out that it was actually my girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
And it was, when I was looking at her, it wasn't her face, and her voice wasn't, it wasn't her voice either.
Okay.
So when I was lying there half awake trying to strangle her, it was like you see in the movies. The face, first the voice changed to her voice, and then the face started to change, because I think it was because I was getting more and more awake. But that wasn't nice. That was really terrible.
Yeah. And then this bad thoughts about yourself start coming.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course it ruins our relationship, because she started to get afraid of me.
Yeah, that's...
So that was pretty much done after that.
Yeah.
But do you have anything like that when you have... Do you have problems sleeping, or how does the nightmares affect you?
I have problem with sleep, yeah. And the nightmares, for me, I cannot control them.
No.
But when I have nightmare, like the other day, I was go around and cut legs off at people. And then
just randomly cutting
legs
off people.
Everybody that was coming, I just cut the legs off, and then they fall down and the blood was...
Okay.
Yeah. And it feels so real. And sometimes I'm lucky, if you can say like that, to wake up. I'm totally sweaty. The sweat is running down my head and my back and stuff like that. And I can get some shaking seizures and stuff like that. But I'm happy about wake up, because I cannot control my dreams at all. When I was younger, I was mostly a big demon that was running after me and tried to kill me. And then somebody said to me, why you don't just stop up and said, is there something I can help with? Because that will be probably a good idea.
Yeah, who doesn't want to help a demon?
Yeah, exactly. But this...
Did you do that, actually?
No.
You didn't do it in
your
dream?
No, because I cannot control myself in my dreams.
Okay. So it's not like some people can do it. I can also do it sometimes when I wake up from a dream, and it's actually a good dream, and then I go to the toilet in the middle of the night, and I can kind of think about what I was dreaming about, and then I fall asleep actually continuing the dream I was having. But you can't do none of that. It's like it just takes over everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I get good dreams and wake up and fall in sleep, they not come again.
Okay.
But when I wake up with some shaking seizures or stuff like that and fall in sleep, I fall directly in the same dream.
Okay.
So that's why I have hard with falling asleep. I actually hate to sleep because I really often got nightmares.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how almost every night, or every other day, or 5 times a week, or
in periods?
Okay. So it switches.
Yeah. It can also be like a long period for like a month.
Okay.
It can also just be maybe one night and then it's not coming again in some few time.
Okay. But does it then take your energy, so you're tired when you wake up, and does it affect your day?
Yeah,
when you have
a lot.
These,
because of my
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a lot of that when I dream like that, because I'm afraid of I actually did it.
Oh, okay.
And that's because of my...
So it feels like you did it when you wake up. It feels like you cut the legs off all those people.
And it's because of my schizophrenic brain.
Yeah.
Because if there happened something, I have hard to say what's fantasy, what's a dream, what's the truth.
Yeah.
In my head, everything is just doing like that, so it can be really hard to know I have not done it. I have even been in at my home, and I have think the police will come and shoot me and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I was lying where there was no windows and stuff like that. Because they could not just shoot me, they have to come in and then they could shoot me. But because I think I was killing somebody.
Oh yeah.
Because of my brain is like...
So you thought they were coming to arrest you?
Yeah.
And kill you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's make it really hard. Because it can be hard to see and say what's real and what's not real.
Yeah.
Because if you hear somebody, if you hear a truck behind you, mostly people, they will start look fast and maybe run if there, of course, was a truck. For me, after many years with all these voices and all this, I am more relaxed. So if I hear something behind me, I sometimes don't react, because I don't wanna react on
something that might not be real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
But that can get dangerous too.
Yeah, if you get run over.
Yeah. So it's but that's why I live a lot with stress, and it's not just because I have to go somewhere. And for me, stress is like my eyes are shaking. I can feel in my body. I get still.
Like electrocuted? Or,
yeah, exactly. I can feel, of course, like a normally stress thing, headache, pain somewhere. It can be the whole body. But I know when my eyes are shaking and I get electric, then I know, okay, now I have to be careful. Yeah.
But it's funny how we are sitting. You talk about your symptoms and your diagnosis, different ones, and even though I came a long way now with my PTSD, and I don't have these episodes where I see people or things that's not there anymore, but a lot of the things you talk about I recognize from my PTSD and my history. So how do you distinguish that from what is paranoid schizophrenic, what is personality disorder, or
OCD,
and PTSD? What's what? You can't really.
A
professional, they say they know, but you don't feel any difference, because after all, me listening to you, except for the voices, actually it could be just an extreme case of PTSD.
Yeah.
But of course it's not in your case, but it could sound that way.
Yeah, exactly. And I can, if you take many diseases in the head, many of them looks like each other.
Yeah.
So
even
even the doctors and stuff like that, they are like, you have that because of a paper you have filled out, and you have that other diagnosed because of paper or what you have talked about and stuff.
Yeah.
But when it's happening in my head, they cannot. If I tell them a story, what that can happen, they don't know actually what it is.
No.
For
so
me,
they're just guessing.
Yeah, they're just guessing. Yeah.
Okay.
I can feel different because not everything I cannot.
No.
Sometimes I don't even know what's real or not real, so
Yeah.
I cannot do it all the time. But
No.
when my PTSD is crazy, I can lie down like near a week and just go to toilet, go to eat, go out, look, is there anybody, go back to bed again. Then I know it's PTSD because I can feel how it is in my brain and body. I can also, when it's my PTSD that's fucking up, I can see like from here in the middle of the eyes and up, I can see
difference or
if my schizophrenic do something, I see it like totally real.
Yeah.
If it's my PTSD that do something, I can see like a movie here.
Okay.
And it's only in the top.
Okay.
And I have some other feelings when it's my PTSD. I'm mostly just nervous. And
But that's also, I don't know if everybody with paranoid schizophrenic, they have PTSD, but listening to you and hearing about you hearing voices and seeing things that don't exist, that must be really stressful and create a lot of anxiety, and therefore you automatically will get PTSD. So you think that's what happened over time? You got PTSD because of your schizophrenic episodes?
I think I did it before.
Did something happen in your childhood or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I get PTSD before I start with schizophrenic.
Okay.
Because I have, if I look at my whole life, it had been like, of course something wrong with me, I know that, but from my child there have happened some few things that have made me a trauma.
Yeah, trauma. Yeah.
And that I can still feel in my body.
Okay.
If you can say it like that. And I can sometimes see the movie in the top of my head.
Okay.
Where it's happening and what they have happening.
Okay.
And I get totally nervous about it. If it's my schizophrenic, then I don't need to have the feeling, but I can see it.
Okay.
So if I am isolating myself in some few days, and I have done a lot of stupid things when I was younger with drugs and steal cars and assault.
But these traumas, you don't have to tell what it is if you don't want to, but is that before your time with drugs and criminal behavior and stuff like that?
Two things is before.
Okay.
My dad, like I said earlier, I have a lot of respect from my parents. They have done a lot to me, like parents are doing, but also more.
Yeah.
And then they have been like good friends, but still I know it's my parents.
Okay.
And I don't hope you see this, Daddy, but he said to me I should, I have made my scooter so it could start and go and everything. And I said, it's nice, I'm nice or something. Yeah. And then he said to me, throw your cigarette. And then I do it. And he said, now you're nice. I have never smoked since there in the front of my father. I can get like sweat, I can get shaking and stuff, just if I smoke a cigarette at the home.
So you feel judged by your father?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he have never said anything after. No. So for him, it's just now you are good because you don't smoke.
But it affected you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it was maybe 17 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm still like, fuck. If somebody talk about I smoke in the front of my dad, I get like, okay, I have to go.
It's still like it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's something a lot of people just say that's nothing.
Yeah.
But for you, it's a big thing.
Yeah, and that's the funny part with the trauma, because I have seen something. People will get trauma and PTSD if they see the same as I have
but
seen.
You didn't.
Yeah, then
you don't count it as anything. Or...
No. Yeah. But just these small things where he said like that, it's have fucked me up totally.
Okay.
But he don't want to be a bad guy for what he said. Yeah. But for me, it have destroyed.
It affected you
a lot. Yeah. But I have also seen people that could not move because somebody have stay on them, just jump and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is not a trauma. No. Trauma for me.
People getting beat up that don't bother
no,
you.
It have not. One time it have, but there was also a little bit too much.
But that also takes something for a person to get that far, thinking that this stuff happening, that's normal. People get beaten up, and for me, people get beaten up and got shot and stabbed. That was kind of normal for me when I grew up. But I understand what you say about it. But also I have, because of all my lectures, and a lot of people know my story. And sometimes people come up to me and, I had these problems in my life, and but it's nothing compared to what you have been through. I said that's not entirely true, because they can been through something that I think is absolutely horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
And might have done me more damage, and the other way around, that maybe something they think that was a big deal for me, wasn't a big deal for me, was a big deal for them.
Yeah. So
it can go both ways, but we are all different. Things affect us differently.
Exactly.
And I've been in a fight many times, and it hasn't affected me or given me trauma, but every time I have to call the government or something, or a telephone company, I'll wait for days, because I almost got trauma, because I have to talk to them, and I have to explain my situation, and it drains my energy.
Yeah.
So I'd rather go out and fight someone to the death than actually make a phone call to my phone company.
Yeah.
And that might sound fucked up for some people, but that's the way I feel.
But it is fucked up.
Yeah, it is. But that's my reality.
Yeah, exactly.
So and people might not understand that, but that's how it is for me, because I was used to those things when I was a child. So seeing people get beat up or near-death experience, that doesn't affect me as much as making a fucking phone call to someone that has some kind of leverage or power over me.
Yeah. I can feel what you are talking about. Like, if you take normally people, they can go shopping, they can go buy food and go in 5 shops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I get so tired and get shaking disease, and stuff like that, just for go buy maybe 2 milk. And many times I forgot the milk or something. I go in for milk because of my brain, you know, not the brain, but I need some milk.
Yeah.
And then my brain is a little bit fucked and I don't remember so good. And then, there is something in here. Oh, there's light and
a lot of colors.
Yeah, exactly. Then I forgot what to buy.
Yeah.
Then I buy something to drink or what it can be.
Yeah.
And come out and go home without milk.
And then you realize when you're supposed to use the milk.
Yeah. Fuck, it was that.
Yeah.
But it's strange that I can go make something sometimes. But the other day it's really hard just go shopping. But sometimes I can also. I cannot do the same as normally people can do. Because then I get totally stressed, like you were talking about.
Yeah. So normal stuff freaks us out, but everything else,
it's okay.
Yeah. World War, famine, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. But
the zombies are coming. We're ready.
Yeah, but if my dad says something, then it's not funny.
No, that's also a different story.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up.
Totally.
Yeah.
I also have, if I see a red jacket.
Okay. You have something with colors that freaks you out? Or?
Especially red.
Okay.
Because I was together with a lady that have a red jacket. So now when I see a red jacket, I'm like, fuck. That's my PTSD that I make this fuck in my body.
But that's a bad thing for you to see a red jacket. Yeah.
But my favorite color is red.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Red, just not jackets.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but if you take this schizophrenic stuff, it's a lot about what you see and what you hear and what you can feel on your body.
Yeah, of course.
And it's all the time hard because you never know when it's the truth or what you just see.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
We had a lot to talk about now, and we could probably talk for hours, but this was kind of an overall of some things, and I learned a little more about you than I did before, and it's nice to know. One thing before we start, I would like to ask you, because we're sitting in the clubhouse now of Coastal Nation.
Yeah.
And you are coming here now for quite some time. And I was just wondering if you wanted to say what this fellowship has done for you, and why do you think this is a nice place to be?
Yeah. Cake? No. There is, when you are coming here in this chapter, every people that are coming here because they want to come.
Yeah.
So they are happy. If you go to like a Christmas dinner or birthday with your family, people come because they need to come.
They feel they are obligated to be a part of it.
Yeah, and here it's just like everybody is happy. And many of us have something that's hard to live with.
Yeah.
Of course, all people got that, but we got it more the same situation. So you can speak with people about what do you do when you want to blow the head off somebody. I go eat ice or something.
Yeah.
Then you can help each other with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's just nice, and here there is a nice garden also. So it's nice people. That's why I come.
Relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah. If I go somewhere like Copenhagen or something, I get totally stressed.
Yeah.
Because people are just running around, not running, but they are walking around. and you can feel like, oh, I have to do that. There's a lot of stress, if you can say like that. Yeah. But when you come here, it's just like, if we are like 7 people and we have to make coffee, everybody stay up and say, can I do it?
Yeah.
So it's a nice place. It's nice guys.
Do you feel we take care of each other in a certain way, or? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just did.
We take care of each other. We help each other if there is something. Yeah. But we are not like, in my opinion, people understand there is an itch of what you want to say and stuff like that. So if I don't want to say something, I just tell it, and that's okay. Let's talk about sex or something. So it's a really nice place.
There's no pressure.
No.
Okay.
And you come if you want, and if you don't want, you.
For me, it's important with this fellowship because I don't have to defend myself. I can just be myself, and if I have a bad day, like you say, I can just say it.
Yeah.
And people kind of understand it because they have some of the same issues, or not same, but similar issues. So it's kind of like, oh, you have a bad day. I know how that feels. Yeah. And if we have some issues, we can talk about it. And I don't have to explain or kind of defend myself, because we all have, like you said, issues.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's much more relaxed to talk about things like that with people who understand, than having to explain every detail to a person that hasn't tried anything similar. Like I used to say that I can tell a person how it's like to be tortured, but if he don't know what it is or haven't tried it for himself, then he can't understand. He can hear my words and he can be pathetic towards my feelings and how I feel about it, but he doesn't understand. He will never understand.
No, but he can.
I can torture him so he will understand.
But that's not a good idea.
No, but it's easier here because they know also my story, so I don't have to explain myself all the time.
Yeah, and that's true for me also.
Yeah, it's like it's more relaxing, like you say.
That's right. Yeah, I was thinking about something, but now I lose it.
No, I know exactly how you feel.
Hello, what's my name?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So, but
I think that's that, and that's all for this episode, folks. And remember, don't have a good day, have a great one. See you next time.